Welcome back to Sports and Spirits, a show where we talk about sports and spirits. It's our niche. It's what we do. Now, you may be asking yourself, what the is going on with your guys' spot there? Well, we're under construction at the main studio, so we're in a temporary spot for maybe the next few episodes. Really excited about the new set, though.
Yeah.
Really excited to see that thing come together.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be cool. I mean, you'll probably see it transition with us, which is the cool part if you've been with us on the whole journey. And yeah, you'll kind of see as we transition into that, and it'll be pretty cool to see the growth of it for sure. But yeah.
Now, if you wouldn't mind taking a quick second to hit that subscribe button, join the Sports and Spirits, the S&S crew, if you will.
Yep.
Also, don't forget to like this video and jump over to our Instagram, our TikTok, our Facebook, our X profile, all that stuff. Get over there, follow us there, because there's going to be different content rolling out soon in all of those different areas. But without further ado, we should probably quick mention off the top, like we always do.
Yep.
The Spirit of the Week, really quick. We're going to get into this in more detail later in the episode, but this is the brand new Green River single barrel from, guess what? Our friends at 7A's.
Yeah. So just came in this past week. We'll kind of talk about it as we transition between some football and maybe some fantasy talk as we usually do. But yeah, just hit the stores. So we'll talk about it and maybe you'll come pick one up.
I had a sneaky taste of it, and it's, spoiler alert, delicious. So we'll talk more about it later.
Sounds good.
But without further ado, let's hit the NFL. This bad boy's on the downside of the season as we slope into playoffs. We've got a few more weeks, obviously, but we're on the back end of it.
Yeah, and as we talked about how big of a weekend this was for football and maybe a lot of you guys in your fantasy leagues and everything, with it being the last week of your regular season, but a lot of playoff implication games on the line this week. Starting right off on Thursday, you had two teams that are definitely fighting in that wild card. The Lions hosted the Cowboys, and in a game that ended up being kind of how we predicted, like more of a high scoring, more shootout. The Lions did get the victory 44-30 behind another
That's a lot of points.
3 touchdown game from Jahmyr Gibbs.
Let's go.
He has, as we've talked in the past, that the Lions are finally, utilizing him as, their best player, their most skilled player nonetheless. And he's kind of just showing his dominance in regards to his touchdown prowess. He now ties Barry Sanders for the most touchdowns before he turned 24 years old.
Dang.
Which, that's a pretty elite company.
Huge.
Yeah, so, obviously he's been great for them. Imagine what his numbers would look like if there was no David Montgomery.
True.
I mean, with all those touchdowns that he's vultured over the last few years.
Probably would have hit it a little earlier.
Exactly, but
what about this crazy turn of events?
Yes. And
from what we witnessed last week,
correct,
to what we're witnessing this week.
Yes. So what he's referencing, if you don't know, is the Vikings last week lost 26-0 against the Seahawks.
Youch.
And then on Sunday at noon, they hosted the Commanders, and a game that ended up being 31-0. 31-0.
Just when everybody, including myself, were calling for the coach's head. Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Obviously, there's some, up and downs in regards to the Commanders on their side of the ball. Jaden Daniels coming back from injury, didn't look super comfortable. Then he got hurt in the game. Then they transitioned back to Mariota. But you have to give credit to where credit's due. The Vikes offense looked good. They moved the ball well. The Vikes defense finally created a few turnovers, which they hadn't done this year. And other than maybe the Commanders going for it on a 4th and goal at the 1, it wouldn't have been a shutout, but either way, it was a dominant victory. It shows that there is some, potential for this team to build on into next season, with JJ potentially as the quarterback. Because as far as I know, that's the plan.
This defense was night and day difference from last week.
Yeah. I mean, they gave Seattle some fits. I mean, the Vikes D has been pretty okay. I wouldn't say they've been great. This was a great performance.
Right.
And in years past, like last year, they were a great defense. They kind of show that they were a great defense on this day.
Yeah.
And so it's good
Which
to
has kind of been a little up and down all this year.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like we talked about, it's like it's not always been consistent. But this one, if they can sustain this defense that they had this past weekend, then we're looking good.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, their chances of making the playoffs are extremely thin. It's about 1.5%.
Right.
Pretty much have to win out and have a lot of other things happen. But, if there's a chance, there's a chance. And nonetheless, there's something to build on for next year, which is really important too.
Dang, brother.
Yeah, and another divisional matchup, you had two teams that were tied at the top. In the AFC North, you had the Steelers go on the road against the Ravens. And as we predicted, this game would be kind of more that old school rivalry, grudge match, back and forth. And there were some controversial calls in this one. Ultimately, the Steelers did get the win 27-22. There was a touchdown call back by the Ravens. The guy had 2 feet in, and on his transition to take his third step, the ball was dislodged by the defender, so they ruled it an incomplete pass rather than a touchdown.
Dang.
There's a couple other instances in this game that the refs kind of changed the result, if you'd like to say.
Sure.
That resulted in the Ravens not winning. So I don't know what to say on that, what to speak on that. That's just one of the things we noticed. But either way, the Steelers take relatively a commanding lead in the division, barring what happens the rest of the way. But the Ravens are pretty much going to have to win out in order to have a chance to make the playoffs, which is crazy.
Now all the conspiracy theorists out there are going to start chirping.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, the third team came in and changed the result of the game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, whenever stuff like that happens, it's always going to be an element, especially in today's world, because there's always going to be those people that discuss online, be like, okay, that was rigged, whatever. But
so is it now safe to say the Steelers are the team to beat in the AFC North?
I mean, with their remaining schedule, yes.
Sure.
Because, I mean, they still have to play the Ravens again, which, that could have an impact on that. But, they have a pretty soft schedule for the remainder of the year, in my opinion. So, but we'll see. I mean, they're not the sexy pick.
No.
That's for sure. They're not the fun team to watch, but we'll see. It is what it is,
Yeah.
And then the game that we
Here we go.
kind of predicted to be like this, but it didn't look like it at halftime. You had the Seahawks just dominate the Falcons in the second half. I believe
two birds against each other.
Two birds against each other. And I believe it was 6-6 at halftime. It was just an onslaught in the second half. The Seahawks ended up winning this one 37-9 behind 2 touchdowns from JSN. Sam Darnold looks really sharp now. This is definitely a playoff team, and it's definitely a team I don't want to play with how good that defense is.
Yep.
I think they scored another touchdown on a kickoff return from Rashid Shaheed, their trade acquisition from a couple weeks back. So, I mean, this team's got layers.
Yeah.
And whenever you have a team that's got layers, it's really scary because they can beat you in so many different ways.
Heard.
And so I think that's the thing that's scary about this Seattle team is that, they honestly can, shut you down on defense and beat you in a low-scoring game, or they can beat you in a shootout. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, either way.
So now they're tied with the Rams.
Yeah, and then obviously the Rams have the head-to-head because they beat them.
Got it.
So they still see each other again as well later on in the season. So that'll be a big one. So
that'll be crazy. So I don't remember.
Yep.
But I want to remind myself and everybody out there.
Sure.
What was your prediction for the Super Bowl?
Yeah. So I did have the Rams in the NFC. Yep. And then I actually.
You're still on pace there.
I know. I still kind of went back and forth a little bit on the AFC just because of the seedings.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's tough to argue that the Patriots aren't a team to watch out for, but we'll see. I predicted the Broncos.
Also, so standings wise, they're tied.
Yes.
So could be a thing.
So I like 4 weeks ago, I predicted the Broncos will take on the Rams.
So then I would ask you this,
and
we'll get to all the other teams in a second here, but then those two against each other in the playoffs, who's the better team?
Are you talking Patriots versus Broncos?
Broncos, if it gets to that point.
Yeah, so here's where there's a couple elements involved. You have obviously the experience of Sean Payton.
Yep.
But also Mike Vrabel's not a rookie coach.
Right.
He coached for the Titans for a long time. He played on New England when they won those Super Bowls. So he's a very experienced guy in terms of football knowledge. My concern is when you think about it, both of these guys at quarterback are year 2 QBs.
Sure.
And so I call it the litmus test.
Yep.
These guys will always be compared against each other. Just naturally.
For sure.
Those quarterbacks in that draft class, the 6 of them, which is Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Anytime they play each other, will always be compared. Who's the better quarterback? Who's the is the better pick? And so I love that dynamic.
It's cool that they're all playing like this,
and they're all playing really well.
Yeah.
I mean, other than Penix,
right?
But and McCarthy's had his moments. But when you look at it, you're on paper, you're like, this might be a matchup you watch for the next 5 to 10 years.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like when we watch these matchups, like when the Peyton Manning played Brady for the first time, you didn't think, okay, this is going to be like the rivalry of rivalries.
Right.
Oh, then it ended up being that they played each other like 8 times in the playoffs to decide who wins the AFC.
Yeah.
So like it's giving that vibe.
I like that.
You know, because you have 2 great defenses, as we've touched on numerous times this year, and then you have 2 young quarterbacks that are very bright futures, and 2 offenses that are, you know, relatively the same in terms of they don't have like crazy star power, but they have, you know, guys that in moments have
serviceable people.
Yeah, you know, just Stephon Diggs, Hunter Henry, you got Travion Henderson. Then on like the Broncos side, you have like R.J. Harvey, you got Cortland Sutton, Evan Ingram. You know, very similar team builds, in my opinion.
Right.
And so like you got rookie running backs, you got, you know, elite high end receivers, you got like mid tier tight ends that are in like 5 or 6 years in the league. So it's like they're like 2 teams that are the same playing against each other that are potentially gonna, you know, have a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so this could be, like you're saying, set up to be a little back and forth over the next 5 years between those
I don't
two.
see how it could not be.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously,
which is proving itself right now with their
Right.
records being identical.
And the thing is most people would argue these aren't even like the best quarterbacks that are in that AFC.
Sure.
So if you factor all those things in, you could have a team like Josh Allen and the Bills. They're going to have to go on the road. You're going to have a team like maybe Lamar Jackson and the Ravens somehow managed to have to go on the road.
Right.
Justin Herbert and the Chargers are going to have to go on the road because their records are so good that those teams that have like maybe the Chargers could end up finishing like 11-6.
Yeah.
You know, and go on the road. You know what I mean? Like that's a pretty good record, you know? So it's tough to say. I mean, it's going to be an awesome playoff nonetheless.
No doubt.
But yeah, if that prediction holds true, that'd be kind of crazy.
That would be cool.
But yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Moving on to our good friends down south,
Oh, yeah.
the Saints.
The Saints, yeah. Just want to highlight this one just because it was probably one of the biggest upsets of the week candidates, probably. You know, beating the Bucs on the road.
Right.
Like not a game you predict the Saints to go in there and win, but, you know, they won 24-20 behind 2 touchdowns by Tyler Shaw, their quarterback. And, you know,
Especially with their record, 3-10 right now.
and no Kamara, you know, their best player out. So, I mean, hey, you know, all power to them. You know, that the Saints, not just the team, but the coaching staff, get those guys ready. And, you know, they're still fighting. You know, I like to see that. I mean, because this is a game that, you know, on paper, it wasn't like, oh my God, that was super fun to watch, but it has so much playoff implication.
Right.
You know, because now you're
They
talking
took a spot out of the leader of their division.
So now right now, as if the season ended today, the Carolina Panthers are actually the leader of the division.
Right.
So that changes things in that regard. So either way, just wanted to touch on it, as well as in the AFC South. Now we'll transition. You had the Jaguars beat the Colts 36-19. And honestly, that score didn't dictate how lopsided this game really was. Unfortunately, we saw Daniel Jones go down with a torn Achilles in this one.
Hate to see it.
Ending his good breakout season for Indianapolis. And they're just, I don't know what that team's going to look like the rest of the way through. And as we predicted, they were at some point, they were going to hit a hurdle. We had seen their, like, oh my God, this is a legit team through the first like 7-8 weeks.
Right.
And then we're like, okay, maybe they are breakable. You know, seeing a little like instances where it's like, okay, they can be beat. They can be beat. I actually don't think they make the playoffs.
Dang.
I mean, I just, with no quarterback, you know, and the schedule they have, this next coming week, they go and play Seattle.
That's a tough shift.
You know, so it's, I mean,
especially with the momentum you have right now or have had to this point with that quarterback, to have to switch that up right now is.
And that's why we said when we're like talking about Jonathan Taylor, like he has these moments where it's like, that guy's the best player in football. Now you're looking at an offense that's so bad. What are you going to do to stop him? I'm throwing 8 guys in the box and playing single coverage out there on receiver, and whoever the quarterback is, make them beat me.
Right.
You know, and so that's why I don't think he has a chance to win the MVP. He could be the most valuable player in the league, but he doesn't win the award.
Right.
That's sometimes how that goes too. So
just crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of the Bills, they win a wild one at home against the Bengals, 39-34.
A little tighter game there.
Yeah, they stayed in the hunt. It was kind of one of those weird games where you kind of can't predict how it was going to end. Joe Burrow throws a really weird interception that Trent Brentford took for a pick 6. You know, it's kind of those like different weird instances that you don't expect. It was a snow game. You know, all those elements were involved. It was just a shootout. It was fun to watch. A lot of turnovers, a lot of like change of like momentum and flow. And the Bills, like I said, anytime you play in Buffalo, they always seem to win those weird ones.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with that, and then that's kind of what happened in this one.
Back to our Broncos, baby.
Yeah,
Played the Raiders.
They played the Raiders in a game that had some controversy. They did extend their win streak to 10 in a row, but the actual game itself had a spread of 8.5. And at one point during the game, it was 24-7 Broncos. Thinking the game's over. The Raiders throw in their backup quarterback. Broncos play prevent defense. They let him go all the way down the field and score a touchdown. And then on offense, they couldn't get a first down, so the Raiders got the ball back. And the Raiders, with 8 seconds to go, throw a big pass down the field to one of the receivers. And like the Bronco defender like jumps on top of the receiver, causing the refs to throw a flag for like delay of game. If they didn't do that, it would have ended the game. Like the game would have been over 27-17.
Yeah.
So out of spite, Pete Carroll throws his field goal kicker out there to kick a field goal of them to make it, or instead of 24-14, 24-17.
Sure.
So the spread then was covered. Being that this game's in Vegas, there's a lot of controversy in terms of how that element went down.
Yeah.
And so if talking about the
conspiracy theorists
out there were like, oh my God, there's no way that happened.
The third team came and struck again.
So I just figured I'd want to touch on that one just because it was definitely one that was talked about in the media.
This time to save Vegas a little money.
Correct. And these are all these afternoon slate games. So we had kind of 3 different elements, 2 games that were kind of blowouts, and you had the one that was really close that we predicted being potentially a game of the week candidate. Was the Packers hosting the Bears in a pivotal divisional matchup, but also a game to determine who might be the number 1 seed in the NFC.
True.
And so the Packers ended up getting a win 28-21 behind an interception in the end zone to seal it. It was kind of just a really bad pass by Caleb Williams. He's trying to go in for it all. And, the all power to the Bears for, kind of staying in this one. They didn't really move the ball well on offense, but their defense kind of kept them into it. But
4-game win streak for them now.
For Green Bay.
Yeah.
Yep. And it ends like, I think the Bears had won like 6 or 7 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So, it ends that win streak. But nonetheless, a big win for them. And that tie is going to be the difference for that Packers in terms of the seeding, as we've talked about before.
Yep.
And then also the team we've highlighted on numerous occasions as being the team to watch out for in the NFC is the Rams. They just absolutely, honestly desecrate, dominate, however you want to describe it, the Cardinals.
Defecate.
Defecate. Whatever. Whatever. Either way, but it was 45-17, and it really wasn't close from the jump.
Here's lasers, baby. Lasers.
Yeah. 2 things to highlight, though. I mean, if you're talking fantasy-wise, obviously, big game from Puka Nakua, Matthew Stafford, another big one.
You just like saying his name.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
It is fun.
But also a guy that probably 75 to 85% of America don't know, which I do as a fantasy guy. His name is Michael Wilson for the Cardinals. They were talking about going in the week. They were banged up at receiver. They had no Marvin Harrison, no Greg Dortch. They had no backup receivers. They basically had Michael Wilson and Trey McBride. 11 catches, 142, 2 touchdowns. That's a 37-point fantasy performance for you. Boom.
Whoa, brother.
So if you picked him up and you threw him in your flex spot, you won your week and you made yourself a chance to go into the playoffs. So,
yes, sir.
Great game from him. Very young, special receiver. I think he has an opportunity to take over that wide receiver 1 role. Nonetheless, even if Marvin Harrison returns, I think he's that good. I just think he is got that connection with Brissett, and they've just announced that Kyler Murray is done for the year. So Brissett's the quarterback the rest of the way through. So if you have him, play him. No matter the matchup, I don't really care. If it's a bad matchup, it is what it is. I put him at the same tier as a guy like, honestly, A.J. Brown, a guy like Justin Jefferson. Like, that's how good of a postseason run he could have.
Let's go.
So he could be a league winner, is the comment on that one.
Wrapping up our Sunday game slate, we have a game here that, the 2 of us predicted who was going to win. Opposite.
Yes.
We predicted opposite.
Yep.
Who won? He won.
I did. Yeah, we.
Gosh dang it!
I predicted the Texans would go on the road against the Chiefs and get the job done.
I did not think that would happen.
He did not. No, he believed in the home magic. But
there was none.
There was none. Not in this one. It was a shocker actually to watch just how flustered they looked on offense. They didn't look like anything like the team who had won. I think they've won like 8 or 9 AFC champion, AFC.
You know what? I gotta look this up. Was
Yeah.
Taylor Swift at the game?
AFC West championships. They've been to like 5 in a row, and it just didn't look the same team. It just shows that the best defense in football can still somewhat win football games, and the Texans defense just stifled them all night long.
Oh, you want to know what it was? Taylor Swift brought Selena Gomez to the game. That's what it was.
That was the
the
issue.
magic left the building,
There you
brother.
go. Yeah, well, that's Selena Gomez. Ouch.
Ouch.
But yeah, nonetheless, that kind of wrapped up your Sunday slate.
How about that Monday Night Football?
Yeah, your last game on Monday. This is a big NFL day for us here. But yeah, the Chargers hosted the Eagles in what turned out to be a field goal battle and a turnover battle for two good teams. Yeah, I believe Jalen Hurts finishes the day with 4 interceptions and a fumble. 5 turnovers for Jalen Hurts. So if you had him in fantasy, ouch. I actually missed my fantasy playoffs because I needed Jalen Hurts to score 12 points, and he scored 1.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That one hurts.
Yeah.
And his lowest scoring output of the season prior to this past week was like 16.
Oof.
So if you would have just, had a mediocre game,
right?
Instead he had the worst game of his career.
Yep.
That's how it goes. Sometimes maybe you're not destined for things, but it is what it is. Nonetheless, the Chargers get a win on an interception late to win 22-19.
Dang, Skippy.
So watch out. Chargers are that team. They're scrappy. Herbert played with a broken hand. Marion Hampton's back. It's just a team that I don't know if I want to play because they just find ways to win weird games.
Right.
So, but that's your NFL slate this week. It was a lot. We covered a lot.
A lot going on.
It was a good week.
Things are wrapping up and heating up
Oh, yeah.
all at the same time.
Exactly.
But before we get into some fantasy football,
Yep.
let's talk a little bit about this brand new single barrel from 7/8 Liquor. You know the guys down there?
They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good guys
Yeah,
for
good
sure.
people for
Yeah,
sure.
They're good people. But yeah, so
Talk a little bit about this single barrel experience.
Yeah, sure. So for you guys watching at home, maybe might not be super informed on how a single barrel process works. Every distillery kind of has their own method and, kind of how they go about it, and how they're selected and things like that. But basically the most common experience is you usually get barrel samples from the distillery. And it's usually in options of like 2, 3, 4, 5 samples to pick from.
Yep.
And you'll compare them side by side, basically blind in a sense. You don't know any info about them until like after you select which one you like.
Yep.
And in this case for Green River, we had that same experience. We had some people come up from Green River to do that experience in person.
At the store.
At the store.
7/8, baby.
Yeah, 7/8.
Bloomington, Minnesota.
Yep, go check it out.
This thing smells like it's got some fruit for days on the old nose.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, and we'll try it here, but this is one of those things when you talk whiskey, the 3 experiences that we discuss the most is your nose, mid-palate, and finish. And the thing that makes this one super unique is I feel like there's 3 different experiences within those 3.
No doubt.
And so depending on the sip you have or the whatever's going on, you might actually pick up on those different notes, which is obviously really cool when you're talking about a single barrel experience.
Yeah.
You want it to be unique. It's 123 proof.
Yep.
I don't remember the exact age and month exactly, so I don't want to speak wrong about it. But yeah, it's super good. It's super affordable. So it's a foolproof store pick for $60. It's a really good value.
That's a win.
And for the holiday time, this is perfect for the Christmas time, in my opinion. You get some of those like
Yep.
dark fruited
Yep.
notes on it, but like you also get like your rich caramels and butterscotch, brown sugars on the nose.
Yep.
And that does not transition into like the mid palate finish, which
Sure.
is really cool. That's
So
the part
like
I
you're
like.
saying, sometimes you'll get something on the nose that you don't necessarily get on the palate.
Exactly.
And generally, having that type of complex experience for a bourbon sip is, in my experience and in my opinion,
Yep.
more enjoyable because I like shifting through all the different things. Sometimes
Yep.
you'll get the strong dark fruit on the nose, and that will transfer nicely. The experiences are great no matter how you get them, as long as it's not something that's just flat.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. You want it to have depth and layers. You want it to be distinctively unique, generally speaking, when it comes to a single barrel. And this one's phenomenal. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. I could drink it all day.
So I tried this at a whiskey club meeting, 7 Days Whiskey Club.
Yep.
We cracked one of these open. This happened to be after we had gone through several other offerings that evening because we had Old Forester in the house, so we did a bunch of Old Forester tastings. But tasting this by itself, as the only thing I've had today, this thing is so much more complex than I remember it being that night.
Oh, 100%.
It is insanely good. Like, I do get the fruit on the palate, but there's more there as far as like notes than there were on the nose. Like the nose, we got the dark fruit, we got the caramels.
But it's very, very, very light dark fruit.
Yep.
You get it way more in the mid palate than you get on the actual nose.
Yeah.
Like you get that fruited mid palate.
Yep.
It's like a soft linger, and then it kind of just like coats your tongue as it goes back, and then it's got an extremely long finish.
Yes.
It's got a really long finish. It's like that sip I just had still going on.
Keeps going.
Which is awesome. So like if you, obviously a lot of you that would know whiskey or enjoy whiskey know exactly what we're talking about. You want a unique, creative experience when it comes to single barrel, and this hammers that home and then some.
Yeah. So if you are in the area for the holiday season, you need to stop down to 7/8 Liquor in Bloomington, Minnesota. Grab yourself a bottle of this because it is phenomenal.
Absolutely.
I am probably going to have to pick up another one because I'm going to want to share this with the fam.
That's the thing. Anybody that comes over for the holidays is a perfect shareable. You can tell them the story. This Green River has got a crazy influx in terms of its growth. A lot of these distilleries have had issues with growth of late, and they've actually grown pretty substantially over the last couple of years, which is good. And their juice is just really affordable, and they do it right. Yeah. And so whenever that's the case, you'll love to support that.
Yeah, them and their sister company, Bardstown Bourbon Company, have kind of exploded onto the scene in the last year and a half. It's just like they came out of nowhere.
Correct.
And both are really good brands.
And the difference between them and the Bardstown side is that for you guys at home, it's probably a more affordable introduction level to their products. The Bardstown, their limited releases tend to be a little pricey for my liking in terms of the quality. Some can be better, some not. But this one, I feel like at this being relatively, I'd say the top for what they have available for the Green River right now, at $60 is a phenomenal value.
And what's also interesting too is like all of their other lineup is also extremely reasonably priced. Like you can get their regular, let's just say their wheated bourbon, right? You can get that for $30.
Yep.
And it's
30 to
so
$35 for their wheated bourbon, their straight, and their rye.
Yeah.
All three.
It's so good too.
Yeah. And so it just it's something, if you haven't had a chance to try and you do come across it, especially during the holiday time, try one. Especially this one.
Yeah, take the trek down to Bloomington.
Yep, let's do it.
Pick this bad boy out because it is a phenomenal pour. Exactly. I cannot say the word phenomenal enough because that's just how good this is.
Yeah.
Boom, there you have it.
That's it.
Again, coming in at 123 proof, it is the 7/8 Liquor Green River Single Barrel. You got to get a hold of this bad boy ASAP. Let's get into some fantasy football.
Yeah, so let's just talk about it. Fantasy-wise, there's a lot you can cover in fantasy football. You can talk the highs, you can talk the lows. I just kind of like to highlight the things that have the most impact going forward. Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 touchdowns, another RB1 overall week, which he might end up doing the rest of the season or potentially finishing that way at the end of the year. The only thing that's going to be the difference on that is, or a guy who's going to contest that might be Christian McCaffrey. He's got a pretty soft playoff schedule, but nonetheless, Jahmyr Gibbs is, like we said, he's going to take you to your playoffs. He's going to help you win your playoffs. And if you had him, rock with him and, just believe in the guy.
Believe in him.
He's been special. Second, I got the Steelers running backs. We've kind of gone back and forth in terms of how we looked at them. But honestly, both of them going forward, I look at them both as flex options. Yep. So if you have one or the other, they're kind of the flex guy. Neither one of them is going to be your league winning, upside for that week guy. But you can kind of guarantee that they're probably going to have anywhere between 10 to 15 points each, just between one having more passing game work, one having more rushing upside. It's kind of those. They're not really like 1 and 2. They're like 1A, 1B. Yep. Kind of a split down the middle. So either way, look at them as flex players going forward if you're going to use them for the playoffs. And then I got Bijan Robinson. he still has that volume that you look to see in that
Sure,
bell
sure.
cow back.
Yep.
Obviously, he's been limited in terms of his upside by not only just the Falcons' offensive struggles, game script, and then Tyler Algier stealing his touchdowns. We'd be talking about Bijan being RB1 this year. Those 8 touchdowns that Algier had, if Bijan had like 6 of them,
right?
He's in that RB1 overall discussion. But because of that, he's kind of tempered. Nonetheless, if you have him, you might be a team that still made the playoffs. Not benching him by any means, just be tempered in the fact that his ceiling seems to be hindered by their struggles.
Yep.
And I just wanted to address that. And then a guy that kind of came out of nowhere. I would say in most leagues, at least any of the ones I don't even know if he was drafted. And if he was, it was like late, like a last round pick. It was Christian Watson.
Oh, yeah.
We just didn't know when he would come back with that ACL injury. He's had a lot of injuries in his career, and his issue has been what? Staying healthy.
Yep.
And so when it comes to fantasy, the biggest plus is availability. Availability is the biggest key, because if you have a guy every week, then you can decide, okay, am I starting him based on his matchup, or am I just starting him because of based on nutrition on your bench?
Right.
You got a guy's hurt.
Yep.
But he scores 2 more touchdowns on Sunday. He kind of confirms his role as wide receiver 1 for Jordan Love the rest of the season. We did see a return from Jaden Reed, which will have some impact in terms of like target volume. But this guy's got that weekly winning upside.
Yep.
So when you're talking about taking a shot on a guy in your flex spot, it's one of those guys that like he could have a 60-yard touchdown any given week. And so if you're shooting for the moon, you're hoping to, maybe you're playing a guy and you're not favored, you throw this guy in there for the chance to hopefully outsell his projection.
Right.
And if he does that, you have a chance. He's still going to be matchup dependent, though. I mean, this next week, I believe they play the Broncos, so maybe not the best looking matchup for him, but nonetheless, pretty good for him to come back from injury and look as good as he has.
Hot dang.
And then I'll leave this one to you. These are kind of both your guys. What do you got there, Steve?
Our last one here.
Yep.
Matthew Stafford.
Yep.
Puka Nacua.
Yep.
That's, those are my guys.
Those are your guys for sure.
Especially Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm old, so I've been with this guy since the start. And so he's my guy.
Yeah.
So I got to stay with him.
Yep. But yeah, they kind of.
I'm starting him every day of the week.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We talked about it. Those guys are going to be guys you're locking in your lineup, confidence, 100%. They're not anybody you're going to like sit or anything. And they both returned to form in favorable matchup against the Cardinals, which should continue the rest of the way through.
Exactly.
So that's kind of like our fantasy section. There's obviously a lot more we could talk about. You'll see some more of that in probably our forecast video. So tune into that, and then also check out some of the shorts that we put out later this week.
110%. Now, here's the thing about anything.
Yep.
You don't just wake up one morning in high school and you're like, I'm going to join the NFL.
Correct.
Some people are that good. Okay?
Sure. Yeah.
But not everybody.
Correct.
And so that's why we have the NCAA.
Yep.
Feeder leagues.
Yep.
You got to feed the NFL somehow, and this is how we do it.
Yes. And speaking of that, this is their biggest week so far of this season. So this, anybody that's watching this at home, this was conference championship week. So these are guys that are playing for a chance. Well, not only now in college, these guys get massive rings.
Right.
A lot of them get NIL, additional incentives, stuff like that, which is crazy. But nonetheless, these are big games because this impacted the college football playoff.
Yep.
And so you got to start off with some of the teams that snuck their way in. 20th ranked Tulane takes down 24th ranked North Texas 34-21, winning the American Athletic Championship, and they earned their spot in the CFP. So Tulane is in.
They're in.
They're in, as well as James Madison. Didn't touch on it super much, but they won their conference championship, and because the playoff is set up where the top 5 conference champions are automatically get a bid, they forced themselves in as the 12th seed.
Forced right in.
Yeah, and then a game that I don't really want to talk about, but we will. 3rd-ranked Georgia. They looked ready for the challenge against 9th-ranked Bama, winning 28-7. Luckily, the committee used the strength of schedule and in terms of everything, in terms of their factors, so this didn't impact. Both these teams still made the playoff.
Okay.
We'll address that in a second. But nonetheless, big win for Georgia. They've kind of been dominated over the last 5-6 years by Bama, so good for them to get off the snide and get a victory over them. And then you had 4th-ranked Texas Tech. They took on 11th-ranked BYU, and they smoked them again. They showed that they were just way better than they are. They won 34-7. Not only did they beat them for the Big 12 championship, they earned a bye in the CFP, and they booted BYU out.
Talk about BYU being kind of a flash in the pan at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, undefeated, started their way, and then they took on as an undefeated team, they took on Texas Tech, and they just showed they weren't as good as their record showed they were.
And they just went, wow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if Texas Tech ends up winning the whole thing, maybe
then they
BYU should have been in.
Right.
But I don't see that happening, but it's
Sure.
very possible.
Yep.
And then the game that we talked about as being the biggest impact, which in a sense it did, but not really, because the way they ended up ranking everything. But we'll talk about that in a second. But you had second-ranked Indiana outlast number 1 Ohio State 13-10, winning the Big Ten championship.
That's crazy.
And earning the number 1 seed. It came on a late, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a 29-yard field goal missed by Ohio State's kicker with 2 minutes to go. And basically a chip shot in today's world of kicking. Really bad pressure moment there for him to kind of fail on that. I'm sure he did not sleep well the next day.
No, for sure not.
So either way, hey, it's how the cookie crumbles, and the game finished, and that's how it is. So, and then the game that had the biggest impact in terms of ranking the teams, you had Duke beat number 17th ranked Virginia 27-20 in overtime to eliminate them from the playoffs and earn an ACC championship for Duke.
Wow.
And by doing this, 17th ranked Virginia would have snuck in as like the 12 seed.
Yep.
That forces JMU in because Virginia is out.
Wow.
So that had the impact. And
let's talk about this, the bracket line up here.
Yeah, so if you guys know anything, they expanded the bracket to 12 teams. We will do a more in-depth video in next week because these matchups actually won't be till next week. So you'll see more in-depth matchups. We'll break them down, but we'll kind of just address them. The 1 seed, Indiana, undefeated, beat Ohio State. They only dropped Ohio State 1 spot. They are 2 seed. And then your 3 seed is Georgia, and your 4 seed stays as Texas Tech. So those are pretty standard as we expected. And then we saw teams that did not play on the weekend. You have 5th-ranked Oregon. You got 6th-ranked Ole Miss, who is now without their coach, Lane Kiffin. 7th-ranked Texas A&M, and 8th-ranked Oklahoma. And then the debate ended up being who was going to be the 9, who was the 10. And the 3 teams that they discussed were Alabama, Miami, Notre Dame. Alabama was rewarded for having the toughest strength of schedule in the entire college football this year, as we've addressed on numerous occasions. So they should be, and they didn't get penalized for playing in an SEC championship game, whereas these other teams did not play. So they were ranked 9, so they will have a rematch against 8th-ranked Oklahoma, which will be obviously a very big one to watch, as they've just played each other a couple weeks ago. And then Miami gets the nod over Notre Dame. Very controversial here. Notre Dame's a very hot team. They'd won 10 in a row. They started 0-2, but the key is they lost to Miami to start the year.
Dang.
So by losing to Miami, the most important tiebreaker in my book, head-to-head.
Yep.
Miami beat Notre Dame. I don't care what the records say. I don't care how the offensive statistics matter. Miami beat Notre Dame.
Yep.
If there's one team that gets in, it's Miami.
Right.
That's just how it goes. That's how the setup is. And as we talked in the past, 11th ranked is Tulane. They snuck their way in with the championship victory, and JMU at 12.
Dang. There it is.
That is your bracket. We'll break it down. We'll eventually throw a picture on the screen for you. We'll break down who we think is going to win on the week to week, and we'll grow with this playoff because this is kind of the only games we really will touch. We won't touch a whole lot of other bowl games because they don't really mean a whole lot. So we'll grow with the bracket, and you'll grow with the bracket with us.
Love that. Get ready for some comprehensive NCAA football action again coming up next week.
Yep.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
In our next episode, I'm going to ask him a lot of questions about how he thinks this bad boy is going to shake out. But make sure and tune in Thursday for the forecast session. Now let's talk a little bit about hoops.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go deep into some hoops, baby.
We got a lot of coverage here. There's a lot of games this past weekend, and I just want to highlight a few of them. So on Thursday, you had the Timberwolves handle the Pelicans 125-116, which is their second win in a row against them, as expected.
Handily
gets the job done there, as we expect. The Pelicans, I think, have 3 wins on the year, if I'm not mistaken. They're kind of a team that's very injury prone and not really going anywhere. So could see a lot of their star players traded at the deadline. Very possible. That's kind of how that transitions.
When's the deadline?
For the NBA?
Yep.
It's still a while out.
Oh, okay.
Still a while out. It's not till right around the All-Star break.
Got it.
But just something to note.
Yep.
And then also you had the Raptors. The Raptors are a team that are, I describe them as like the not sexy pick.
Yeah.
They're like the Chargers of the NFL.
They're
the team that seems to win games, but nobody is recognizing that's happening. You know what I mean? They don't have they don't have like the guy that's like, oh, that dude's like the stud.
Right.
Like Scotty Barnes is one of my favorite players to watch in the NBA.
Yeah.
He's just really good, sneaky good. He's a three-tool player. He's kind of just but they have a lot of talent around him. So this is a big matchup against the Lakers in a game that came down to the final shot with the Lakers winning 123-120. The thing we have to note here, for you basketball fanatics out here, this is a very historic moment I'm about to describe. LeBron James's double-digit scoring streak, which spanned 18 years and at 1,297 games, came to an end in this one. And the reason being, on the very last play, he had an opportunity when the game was 120-120. He was driving to the hole. He had an opportunity to throw up the layup to win the game 122-120 to extend his streak because he finished the day with 8 points.
Yep.
Instead, he opted to pass the ball to Rui Hachimura in the corner for him to hit the game-winning three. So people have always described LeBron as not this team-first guy.
Yeah.
If that doesn't describe LeBron as a team-first guy,
right.
he cared more about the victory than the streak.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, hey, streaks are meant to be broken, and this one will never be broken. I'm putting that out there. There's nobody in the history of basketball that will ever break this streak.
That is a bold take, brother.
10 points for 1,297 games in a row.
Write that down. Write that down in the history books next to this record.
Yes.
That he doesn't think it's ever going to be broken.
Never. No chance.
No chance.
Zero. 0.001.
Wow.
It's not happening.
At least he put that in there.
Yeah.
Like there's
nothing technically in the realm of the world is impossible, but this one seems merely impossible.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, just had to address that. Also on Friday, a lot of games, like we said. You had the Magic nearly outlast the Heat, 106-105. Two teams that are very good in the East. And then another historic day, you had the Nuggets make a remarkable 20-point comeback against the Hawks to win 134-133, high-scoring affair. And in this one, Jalen Johnson, he's having a phenomenal start to the season. Just want to address that with no Trae Young. He becomes just the fifth player in the play-by-play era to record a first-half triple-double.
Dang.
That is an absolute all-star.
That's crazy.
If that guy is not an all-star this year, either you as fans haven't been watching basketball or something's going on because that guy is playing on an insane level and he just needs to be rewarded for it.
Triple-double in the first half?
Yes.
That's a lot of scoring.
That's a lot of scoring. Points, rebounds, assists, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And so obviously it helps when a game's 134-133 to do that, but nonetheless impressive.
Made it happen.
And then a game I was at on Saturday, the Timberwolves battled back against the Clippers to come back to win that one 109-106.
My boy Beardy couldn't do it, huh?
Yeah, well, he did do something.
Oh, what did he do?
James Harden moved to 10th all-time on the all-time scoring list, passing Carmelo Anthony with 28,290 points and counting. James Harden becomes a top 10 scorer in the history of basketball.
Shoo.
That's a pretty impressive feat. Also, this was Wally Zerbiak night for you fans out there. So I know there's a few of us that had some signatures that they got done. At this one, it was cool to see. But either way, that was a
good old
special
Wally.
one. Yeah, he's a good one.
Love that guy.
Also on that day, as we talked about him just recently here, Jalen Johnson had his second triple-double in back-to-back nights en route to a 131-116 victory over the Wizards.
Let's go.
30 points, 12 boards, 12 assists, absolute stud.
That guy's on. Are you sure this guy couldn't do it?
Yeah, I don't. Well, here's the thing: it's the 10 points a game for that long. It's impossible. It's really hard.
All right.
I mean, there's only 82 games in each season.
It's true.
You factor in LeBron played all those years where they went to the championship. That's where that comes in.
Okay.
So it's gonna be tough.
I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Yeah. Either way, let's transition into the Sunday slate, which was jam-packed. You had the Knicks won a close battle against the Magic, 106-100 behind a 30-point, 9-assist game from Jalen Brunson. This Knicks team, I actually might be changing my prediction. I do think the Knicks are probably the team to beat in the East.
Whoa. Back that thing up.
I do think that they have the most depth in the East. That starting five with Karl Anthony Towns, You got, depending on who they rotate in there, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Miles Bridges, Jalen Brunson. You got Mitchell Robinson off the bench, Deuce McBride, Landry Shamet.
Deuce.
It's a deep team, and Mike Brown's the difference.
Yeah.
They had Tom Thibodeau last year. He's not the coach, and we know that as Timberwolves fans. He was our guy for a while. Mike Brown is the reason that they could win the whole thing this year, but nonetheless win the East. So there'll be a team to watch out for
Mike
sure.
Brown's incredible.
Yes. Also, you had the Celtics go on the road and beat the Toronto Raptors 121-113 behind another stellar performance from Jaylen Brown and Derek White. Both those guys are all-stars this year.
Dang.
And Jaylen Brown has been playing on an MVP-type level, so you just got to put some respect on the name. He's an absolute bucket. And nonetheless, the Celtics should have an opportunity to not just make the playoffs, but have Jason Tatum return, because they were debating on whether or not he was going to come back this year, and it was going to be based on whether or not they were going to be a contender. With the way those two are playing, if I'm Tatum and I'm 95% healthy and I'm good to go, I'm going to give it a shot. That's my look. So, yeah. And then also you had the Lakers go on the road against the 76ers and another vintage LeBron James performance. He returns to scoring more than 10 points.
What a bummer.
He scores 29. And Luka also has a triple-double in the 112-108 victory.
Now we're talking.
So that was a good one. And then just a couple ones to highlight here on Monday. You had the Timberwolves hosted the Suns. And the Suns are shorthanded. No Jalen Green, no Devin Booker, and they still beat us 108-105. So despite Edwards having 40 points.
Did you go to that game?
I did not. I did not go to this one. But nonetheless.
That's probably why they lost.
Yeah, that's probably why they lost. But either way, the Suns got our number this year, and it's been unfortunate to see.
It's because Steve Nash is with the Suns.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. And then also you had the Spurs. They won on the road, and they took down the Pelicans 135-132. Just a ton of high-scoring games this year.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's a lot of points, not a lot of defense. But in this game, just want to touch on it, Derek Queen had his first career triple-double, a special young player. He becomes just the 5th player all-time to have a triple-double before the age of 21.
Yeah. These are all high-scoring games because now in the NBA, you can't even sneeze towards somebody without getting a foul.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's horrible.
Yeah. And then as you guys are watching this should go out today, you will see the start tonight of the quarterfinals of the Emirates Cup.
Emirates Cup? What's that?
It's basically, if you guys haven't been following along, it's the Commissioner Cup that they implemented to have more allure, more draw to the NBA during the start of the season. So tonight you'll have 2 games, and then on Wednesday you'll have 2 games, which they are classifying as the quarterfinals.
Sure.
And then the winners of those are in a bracket format, just like a standard 8-man bracket, and they will play in the semifinals on Saturday. So this will be probably, without question, other than the All-Star break, the least amount of NBA games you'll have this week.
Oh, wow.
Because they're only playing the Emirates games on the given night.
Got it.
So tonight there's only 2 games. Tomorrow there's only 2 games. And on Saturday there's only 2 games.
Wow.
So if you're those fantasy basketball guys out there, you're not going to have a lot of high-scoring matchups this week because there's just no games to be played.
And this Commissioner's Cup is basically put in place to keep the excitement of the beginning of the season as exciting as playoff season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also just there's money involved. There's incentive for these players to play to make extra money. Not that all of them need it, but for some of the guys off the bench, a little $500,000 bonus wouldn't hurt. Right. That's a pretty good chunk of change.
Brought to you by Emirates.
Yes, it is. So, nonetheless, that's something to look out for as this week progresses, and then we'll kind of discuss what that looks like going into the weekend and stuff like that in the next one.
As the temperature continues to drop here in the great state of Minnesota, it only makes sense for us to talk a little bit of NHL hockey.
Yeah, you have to, especially with how good they're playing.
We are the state of hockey, so yeah.
Yeah, except for on Thursday. They went on the road and lost to the Calgary Flames.
Well, it's because we were on the road.
Yeah, we were on the road.
Not in the state of hockey.
Correct. So, nonetheless, that was a tough loss in a game we thought they should win. But also, we saw a tough loss. The New York Islanders hosted the Avalanche, and they ended their quote-unquote win streak, and they handed them a regulation loss.
Wow.
6-3. So the Avalanche can be beat.
What were you thinking?
Yeah, their second loss of the year.
You weren't supposed to be beaten.
Yeah, so either way, they've been crazy to watch this year. But and then you also had the Edmonton Oilers host the Seattle Kraken in a high-scoring affair, 9-4, behind a hat trick from Connor McDavid.
That is a lot of points for the hockey game.
It was a very high-scoring affair, a lot of goals. But nonetheless, Edmonton are one of those teams that started off a little slow this year, but they're catching fire right now, and they're going to be a team that, as the season progresses, they'll still be in contention for sure. And then on Friday, you had the Vegas Golden Knights go on the road and beat the New Jersey Devils 3-0.
Dang.
The Devils have kind of been on a slide of late, so definitely a team that we might necessarily not cover as much as the season progresses as they're kind of falling off. But the Knights are kind of heating up, so it's good to see. And then you had the Stars beat the Sharks 4-1, and the Ducks beat the Capitals 4-3.
Dang.
The Ducks have been the shocker. We've talked about them before, and I'll continue to talk about them if they're continuing to win. They're first in their division, and the Stars are one of those contending teams.
Freaking quack, baby.
So yeah, it's cool to see. And then on Saturday, the Wild went on the road against the Vancouver Canucks and lost again 4-2. Just for whatever reason, we two really play bad in Canada.
Yeah.
Just historically, the Wild are really bad when they play on the road in Canada.
I wonder why.
And that was a bad one. But the Avalanche got back in their win column, getting the win against the New York Rangers 3-2. They're just they're so deep.
Yeah.
Their second line can beat a lot of first lines in the NHL. So they're going to be a team that's going to be tough to beat. I think they win the whole thing this year. I think they're built.
Whoa, another prediction?
That's my prediction.
This whole episode has
I'm just
been
loaded with
laden with predictions.
Because at the end of the day, what's not to have something to go back on and see if you're right or wrong.
You gotta see it.
At the end of the day, predictions are predictions, and whether they happen or not, it's tough to say. But they're the team to beat. That's my opinion. But also, you had the Hurricanes host the Predators, winning 6-3. And that's a team that you could watch on that side that could be potentially that matchup against the Avalanche. Yeah. I do think they're good enough. And then on Sunday, you had the Avalanche win again. Going
Hard
on the
to believe,
road
right?
Against the Flyers, winning 3-2. They are just unstoppable right now. And you go into a game and you're like, okay, we're winning today. It's just going to be what's the score. Yeah. That's got to be a fun feeling.
Right.
And then you had the Sharks. They went on the road, beat the Hurricanes 4-1. They have looked really good too with Malagrini. He's a really young, special player. And then you have the Stars beat the Pittsburgh Penguins at home 3-2 in a shootout.
Now we're talking.
There you go. And then you had the Ducks beat the Blackhawks 7-1 at home to stay in first place. Just offensive showing here. This team's deep. They got a lot of young talent. They're skating fast. They're playing hungry. Nonetheless, a big one there. And then lastly, obviously, we're just throwing through these guys. So
just burning them up.
Burn them through them. Yeah, on Monday, the Wild took on the Kraken in Seattle and won 4-1. So we got back on the win in the win column. A couple goals on empty netters late to extend the lead. It was 2-1.
Kraken.
And then also you had the Red Wings win on the road against the Canucks 4-0. The Red Wings are a young team as well. They got some talent, so definitely a team to look out for. But nonetheless, that's a lot of hockey coverage. There's way more we could talk about. If you want more in-depth game-to-game stuff, please let us know if you're still tuning into the video. Nonetheless, that's kind of your recap of this past weekend.
The divisions in the NHL are interesting.
Yes, they broke them up like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They broke them up into like regions and stuff.
Right.
It's definitely interesting for sure.
Division A, Division B, Division C, Division D.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of teams in each one.
Yes.
Even like those aren't broken up into their own little categories. It's like Western Conference, Eastern Conference, and it's very right down the middle of Northern America.
Yep.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
Hockey's a little different.
Except Florida.
Yep.
Florida's in Division C, so it's like Canada in the northern part of the United States, and then Florida, and then Division D is in the middle of all that, which is crazy.
Yep.
That's amazing. There you have it. That's another edition, another recap for all of you here on Sports and Spirits. Excited to have you along for the ride. Don't forget to take a quick second to hit that subscribe button, like this video, follow us on all our other social media channels, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.